Anticipation is greater than the experience. So now, what do I mean by this? What do I mean by anticipation is greater than the experience? So what I mean is like thinking about it and waiting and hoping it's going to happen, anticipating and thinking and building up all these thoughts and these energies and these emotions that for something that's about to happen. That is more powerful and more like encompassing than the actual experience. Like that is more like that's a bigger emotion than the actual experience, like you're building it up all in your mind, but then once you get there it's like, okay, like this is it, this is the thing that I've been anticipating, like anticlimactic, right? So I'm gonna give three examples of this, like three examples of experience that I went through that enabled me to learn this, and now these examples might not apply to everyone, but these are just three things that I went through, as well as other things, but three things that I went through that helped me learn this. So the first example is sex. So when I was young, like you think about as a man, you're just like, oh, losing my virginity is this big thing. It's this big deal. Like, oh my God, sex is this huge thing, like, of course it is important, but like, like in your mind, in my mind, I was just thinking like it was just so much more, and just thinking about it in all these different ways. Like, oh my God, losing my virginity is so important. I'm a young teen. Oh my God, it matters so much. And then once I had sex for my first time, I'm like, okay, like that was it. Like not that I was ungrateful, but I'm like, that was it. Like I thought it was this huge like experience explosion of just amazingness. You know what I mean? It's like in my mind, I had like made it more than it actually was going to be. Like not to say like sex isn't a good thing, but like in my mind, all those years of being young and thinking that it matters and thinking that it's important, like it just like once I was there, I'm like, okay, like that was the experience. It wasn't as like amazingly life changing of an experience that I thought, like so I was building up that in my mind like way more than the actual experience. The anticipation was way more than the actual experience. The all the emotions and the fear and the excitement and all that. But once I experienced it, it was like, okay, that was it. So that's the first example. Second example is school. So when I was young, like getting into high school, before I was in high school, like eighth grade and younger, you think like high school is this big ass thing. Like, oh my God, fucking high school is gonna be the coolest thing ever. And I mean, it's this crazy ass world, this other fucking dimension. And going to high school is this big ass huge deal. Oh my God, high school this, high school. And then once I got there as a freshman, I'm like, okay, this is what it is. This is high school, And as time went on, I'm like, okay, it's just a bunch of fucking insecurity and judgment and cliques and shit like that. Like, okay, it wasn't this amazing ass huge thing that I thought. And then after high school, when I was like 20 something and I went to college, I tried out college. I thought college was just this amazing ass thing. Like, yeah, when you go to college, it's like this, and college, man, college. And then once I get there, about my first weekend, I'm looking around like, okay, this is college? Like, it's just high school too? You know what I mean? Like high school number two, the sequel to high school. This shit ain't shit. It's still the same thing, except people drive cars and they're fucking adults now. You know what I mean? Like they, it wasn't anything that spectacular. I'm not trying to talk down other people that enjoy college. I'm just saying my experience of it was like, oh, I thought fucking college was this amazing ass thing, and then I get there, I'm like, okay, it's just a sequel to high school. The shit is the fucking same. The only thing is you don't gotta ask to go to the bathroom. That's it. And you can walk up and leave. That's it. It was fucking stupid. It was fucking all that anticipation and building up before high school and before college was greater than the actual experience. Like the experience was like here on the scale of excitement and affecting my life. And the anticipation was like this much with all my emotions going here and there, like, So yeah, the anticipation is greater than the experience. Now, the last example is success. I wouldn't consider myself the most successful person, but I have achieved things in my life that I consider success. I have seen some aspects of success, and like Specifically with success, I mean money, because some people see money as success, but we're going to use money as the example of success. So when I was younger, saving up when I was a kid, saving up your first $100 is a big deal, and like not having a lot of money, money is hella important. And you think that like money is success. Like, man, if I just had this much money, like, and when I was young, I don't know how old, but when I saved up my first $1,000, it's like, oh my God, $1,000. And then like you think about like fuck, dude, like imagine having $10,000. Like that's a lot of money. And then once I achieved my first $10,000, I'm like, okay, like this is it. There's $10,000 in my hand, all cash. Like, where's the big ass parade and explosion of excitement? I'm like, okay, it's just objects. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? I achieved $10,000. I thought this was this big ass thing. Where's the fucking feeling of greatness and achievement? And it's not. It's just fucking objects of paper. They're just numbers. I'm like, shit. So all that anticipation building up to like making that much money is way more than the actual experience. And so with that experience, I already know that once I achieve my first $1 million, it's gonna be like you think it's like, man, if I just had $1 million, if I was a millionaire, like, oh fuck, like, oh, just everything would be just this certain way. Like, no, I already know that once I achieve my first $1 million or $1 million in the bank or whatever, it's gonna be like, it's not going to be like, oh yes, I get to kick back and relax, I'm a millionaire now. No, it's going to be like, shit, I'm a millionaire, but I have this business to pay attention to, this business, this deadline, this list to follow, this and all this fucking shit to do. It's not kicking back, I'm a millionaire now. Like, so all that anticipation is more affecting than the actual reward. I'm not saying the anticipation is better than the reward. I'm just saying it's greater as far as like the energy that you build up before you achieve it. So like, oh, $1 million, oh, what would that be like? And you're sitting here below $1 million, like, oh fuck, it would be like this and this and this fantasy, and you could do this and this and this and this. But once I get there, I already know it's gonna be like, no, I have to meet this deadline and this deadline and this deadline. I have to finish my list of everything I have to do today, and I have to manage this business and this. Like, it's not gonna be a cakewalk. It's not gonna be like everyone thinks who lives at the bottom. And I'm grateful to have learned this. I'm grateful that I was able to take small money and expand that to infinite potential. Even if I achieve 42 infinity trillion dollars, it's not going to be this feeling. It's going to be like, fuck, I put in all that work and here I am now. And it's not even that rewarding because I already expected it. Like, I already put in all that work. I already seen myself going up to it. I already calculated to that. So it's like, no. Now, like, if you were in that moment of like anticipation, you got these things instantly, then maybe, but nah, dude, I'm telling you. So basically, my advice is don't be all like anticipating and thinking about things like, oh man, I can't wait till I get this girl. Da, 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 da. And once you get the girl, it's like, okay, like she's not that special. After the first week, you're like, okay, like she's just another girl. It's not that special. Like, so don't pedestalize these experiences in your mind so much, because it's going to be anticlimactic when you get it, and it's going to be like, fuck. Can't speak for everyone, but I can definitely speak for myself on that. And there's been plenty of experiences, way too many to count, that like I built up the anticipation so much that when I got the reward, it was nowhere near that, and it kind of like, it sucked, man. It was like a letdown. I was still grateful of these things, but just remember, anticipation is greater than the experience.